sharp pain hit my stomach. I looked down. My suit was torn. Blood mixed with green slime. It clotted into nasty chunks. I remember that shot. The shooter was Mo Chen, and the one who handed him the gun was Siqing, my fiancée. When I woke up, the world was green. Not the green of spring buds, nor the green of summer shade. It was a thick, all-consuming green, like it wanted to digest everything. The sky was green. Oh, thick clouds hid the sun. Only a sickly, fluorescent green glow remained. The ground was green. Roads and concrete were now covered in a thick, ragging carpet of moss and fungus. Even my breath seemed to carry green dust. Memories stabbed my mind like a poison knife. Just 12 hours ago, our small survivor team found the legendary Eden's entrance. Mo Chen, our leader, always calm, always looking ahead. He stood before a gate of living vines. He painted a vision of a new world. The green tide isn't a disaster, it's evolution. Gaia's self-evolution. He spread his arms, fanatical. We shouldn't hide anymore. We shouldn't fear. We should embrace it, become part of it. Inside Eden, our fusion with this world begins. I knew something was wrong. We fled the fallen cities to find a place without spores, without mutants, a safe zone. Not to join this green plague. What are you saying? I stepped up. Fusion? That's infection. Say it again. Forget how Captain Lu died? He was parasitized by bugs and turned into a tree. Mo Chen's gaze turned cold, icy cold. He looked at Siqing and Suqing. I loved them for 5 years, from civilization to this green apocalypse. She didn't look at me, only at Mo Chen. He knew that look, full of worship and love at that moment. Worse than the xuanhuan. My heart felt crushed by an invisible hand. Lin Zhou, you're too stubborn. Suqing's voice was soft, but it hit me like a hammer. You only see the green tide's destruction, not his vision. Mo Chen can lead us to a real future. So, in your future, there's no place for me. I laughed bitterly. Mo Chen slowly raised his gun, aimed at me. A relic of the old world, not fit for the new world. I looked at Siqing, hoping she'd say something, even one word, but she just silently stood behind Mo Chen and shoved a spare mag into his vest. That gesture killed me. The gunshot rang out. I fell into the army blanket outside Eden, watching them walk into the riding vine gate without looking back. The gate slowly closed before my eyes, shutting me out of their new world. I don't know how long I was out. The wound in my gut burned. The skin around it had faint green lines. Early signs of spore infection. I knew exactly what that meant. If not treated soon, I'd end up like Captain Li, a living tree in this green hell. Survival instinct overpowered the pain. I struggled to lean against a fungus-covered wrecked car. Dizziness washed over me in waves. I pulled a med kit from my tactical leg pouch. Only one broad-spectrum antibiotic and one last moss inhibitor left. This only buys time. Not a cure. I gritted my teeth and jabbed the needle into my thigh. The cold liquid pushed in. After all that, I was drained. Cold sweat soaked my back. I looked around. Only hopeless green. Moss hounds roamed in the distance. Their twitching noses caught the blood. Eden was now a traitor's haven. I could never return. The bulwark flashed in my mind. The military's last major survivor base. Our team's original goal. The bulwark. Once the thought took root, it became my only obsession. Not just to survive, but to prove Mo Qian and Su Qingrang. I checked my gear. A pistol, half a mag left, a combat knife, some crackers and half a water bottle. Enough for the first leg. I got my bearings, headed west, away from Eden. Each step pulled at my wound. A dull ache spread through me. I gritted my teeth, silent. Behind me, betrayal and death. Ahead, the unknown. Beneath me, the sickening green world. I had one thought: survive, live better than them. Watch their green evolution theory burn. Alone in the green wasteland, every step was on thin ice. I stayed alert. Mutant roars echoed in the distance. The wasteland's eternal soundtrack. I pushed on with my last supplies and will. The pain never stopped, but it was proof I was still alive. The bulwark was my only light. 2 days alone flew by. The crackers were almost gone. Only one sip of water left. The moss inhibitor barely held the wound. The pain and hunger were draining me fast. My vision blurred. My steps felt like walking on cotton. Every step took all my strength. I knew I was near my limit. I even thought of lying down somewhere. The thought of waiting quietly. Just as my mind was about to fade, a faint smell of smoke hit my nose. In this world of spores and rot, smoke means human civilization. That scent was like a shot of adrenaline. It gave me strength instantly. With my last bit of energy, I crawled toward the smell. Through a forest of giant mushrooms, I saw a man sitting by a fire, around 50 years old, scruffy with a shotgun and a machete. In the apocalypse, Strangers are worse than mutants. I hid behind the glowing mushroom to watch. But he still spotted me. He locked eyes on me. His voice was rough and tired. Come out, friend. I knew I couldn't hide, so I came out with my hands up. He looked me over, staring at my wound for a while. He said mockingly, "Hey, you got shot and infected. Tough guy up." I cut to the chase and asked for help. He scoffed, tore off some meat, and ate. Asked what I could trade. I blurted out information. Told him I know where Aiden is. Plenty of supplies and people there. When he heard eating, his eyes changed. He called himself Old K, a madhouse of Green Tide believers. I've been here 3 years. Heard every rumor. Said he's not into dealing with crazy. They'll kill themselves soon enough. I seized the chance. Asked if he knew where the barrier is. Old K squinted. Looked me over again. Squinting, said with disdain, "You want the barrier? Cross the whole contaminated zone. Countless big monsters on the way. With you all wounded like that, going there is suicide." I told him word for word. I have to go. My resolve was unwavering. The campfire crackled. The flames lit his weathered face. Bickering. After a long silence, he finally said he'd give me food, water, and herbs for the infection in exchange for my gun and remaining bullets. I hesitated. This gun was my only ranged weapon. Without it, I'd feel completely vulnerable. Old K saw right through me. He sneered. "Kid, in this hellhole, a gun security is fake. What keeps you alive is your brain. Sometimes a knife beats a gun." He patted the machete beside him. I saw in his eyes. I had no room to bargain. I gritted my teeth and said 2 words. "Deal." I slid the pistol and mags to him. He checked it expertly, nodded, then tossed me a canteen. Half a bag of crackers, and an oil paper pack. He said it was green rue powder. Put it on the wound to draw out spores. It'll sting. Bury it. Without a second thought, cut open my suit and dumped the green powder on the wound. A searing pain hit instantly, like a million ants gnawing at my flesh. I bit my lip hard, holding back a scream. Soon, green threads were pulled from the wound, dissipating in the air. After the pain, a relieving itch. The discomfort eased a lot. I thanked him hoarsely. Old K didn't care. "Gee, just a trade." He tucked the gun away and stood to leave. I quickly called out, asking if he was heading to the Bastion. I wanted to go with him. Old K looked back at me, pity in his eyes. "Kid, I don't team up. People are more trouble than the monsters out there." With that, Old K left. He grabbed his pack and rifle and turned into the deep mushroom forest, soon vanishing in the dim light. I watched him leave, then looked at the food and herbs, feeling mixed emotions. Old K's words were blunt, but true. Trust is a luxury in this wasteland. Mu Qian and Su Qin taught me that lesson. Well, but can one man reach the barrier? I had no answer, but knew I now had the strength to go in. I wolfed down the crackers, drank some water, redressed my wound, and felt a bit stronger. Following Old K's directions, I turned south toward Shugu, 30 kilometers away, a survivor settlement. He said I might find a team heading to the barrier there. Along the way, I dodged small mutant creatures. And on my dagger, always alert. After the green tide, any lapse could get you killed in the wastes. After half a day, I finally saw Shugu Town's outline. It wasn't really a town, but a giant junkyard built on an abandoned steel mill. Rusty blast furnaces towered like silent giants over the land. The survivors used shipping containers, scrap metal, and barbed wire for shacks. The air stank of oil, rust, and rot. This was the edge of order, a test of humanity. The moment I entered, all eyes were on me. Their looks held scrutiny, greed, and open malice, like sizing up a lamb for slaughter. I gripped my dagger and walked straight ahead, knowing any weakness here would be exploited and devoured. The town center was a relatively open market. Survivors trade here, canned food for bullets, medicine for water. Some even trade themselves for scraps. A wooden board by the market is covered in job listings. Hope for Shugu Town, and countless traps. I scanned the board, mostly supply runs and escort missions, risk and reward, until the last one stopped me cold. Find the city library's data core. Reward: 3 moss inhibitors, hard currency in the apocalypse. 1 buys you time. 3 is a fortune, but the library is oversown with spores. Extremely dangerous. Lost in thought, a woman's voice spoke beside me. "Newbie, want a job?" She was scantily clad, heavily made up, leaning on a stall, an unlit cigarette in her mouth. She sized me up, just looking. I said. She spat out the cigarette, crooked her finger. "Big job, follow me." Hesitant, but I followed. Good feeling. This could be a chance. Even if it's a trap. In Shugu, to survive, you have to gamble. She led me through the noisy market into a bar made from a shipping container. Dim lights, loud music, survivors drinking, gambling, bragging, chaotic, intense. She weaved through the crowd to a booth in the corner. A man sat there. Black leather jacket, half his face scarred from burns. A terrifying sight. This was Brother Ba. The woman giggles, sits by Beige. Beige, a newbie for you. Beige lifts his eyelids. His unburned eye, sharp as an eagle's, scans me up and down. His voice like sandpaper. Want a job? I ask what it is. Beige says, grab something from Oasis Mall. That's the corruptor's lair. Target's in the top floor manager's office. My heart sinks. Corruptors are worse than moss hounds. Humans infected by special spores. They keep some smarts, know how to ambush and team up. Tough, I ask what he needs. He says, a safe inside agency bank from before the green tide. Visit real farmland in Show Valley. Grill clean food. Too tempting. Success means Show Valley becomes a true haven. I'm tempted. I hide my excitement. Ask what's the pay. Beige's offer is great. Then deal 100 bullets, 30 cans, 5 moss inhibitors plus core member status, priority supplies. Such terms, unreal in the apocalypse. I ask why pick me, a newcomer. The woman answers for him. Last team, only AHU came back alive. Lost an arm. No veteran here dares take it. I sneer. So I am cannon fodder. Beige's eyes darken. You could say that, but it's your chance to prove worse. Isho Valley, only strength earns respect. You dare gamble? I am silent. It's a trap, but also a rare chance. Finish it. I'll have a foothold. Enough capital for the wall. More importantly, I need a real fight to grind down the hate and become a survivor again. Not a bitter loser. I finally said 2 words. Deal. Beige smiled approvingly, told me to meet at the town gate tomorrow. 2 others would join the mission. I nodded and left the bar. Stepping outside, it was already dark. Green spore clouds glowed eerily at night, fading Shugu town. In dim green light, I found a quiet corner, sat against a cold container, and slowly wiped my knife. The cold blade showed my tired, determined face. Mo Chen and Su Qing flashed through my mind. Only one thought remained. Wait for me. I'll not just survive. I'll thrive more than anyone. Sleepless night. I rested against the container. Always alert to my surroundings. Shugu Town's nights are deadlier than days. Not just roaming mutants, but looters too. One slip and you are dead at dawn. I stood and stretched my stiff body, headed to the town gate. A life or death gamble was about to start. I arrived on time. 2 people were already there. One was El Wu from the bar, burly and quiet. Sick bandage on his right hand, carrying a modified shotgun. His look at me was mixed pity and schadenfreude. The other surprised me. A girl of 16 or 17 in oversized work clothes, looking very small. Short, messy hair, dust on her face, but her eyes were unusually bright. Like stars in the dark, she carried a huge backpack, holding an old drone. The girl saw me, reached out with a friendly smile. Hi, I am Xiaqi. I froze, then shook her hand. Lingzhou. She eyed me curiously. You are the rookie in the Oasis mission. Pretty brave. I said, same. My eyes fell on her drone, all of questions. Xiaxi noticed my stare, patted the drone. This is Firefly. I modded it high altitude recon, real-time mapping. I'm on tech support. A tech guy, a wounded guy, and me, the new cannon fodder. That's Beige's suicide squad. I laughed bitterly. This mission's danger was worse than I thought. Soon, Badge arrived in his armored pickup, covered in bullet holes. He said simply, get in. We climbed in one by one. AHU took the front, Xiaxi and I in the back. The bed was stacked with weapons and explosives. Gunpowder hung in the air. The truck roared. Left Shugu Town, heading toward Oasis Mall. The ride was bumpy. My gut wound ached, but I stayed alert. Xiao Qi kept tuning his drone, fingers moving deftly on the panel. Very skilled. Watching him, I asked how he learned all this. Xianei's eyes dim, said his dad was an engineer. When the green tide hit, Dad died protecting him. His dad taught him everything. I fell silent. In this apocalypse, everyone has a past they'd rather not mention. The pain of losing a loved one. I know it well. Xiao Xi quickly composed himself. He asked why I came to Shugu Town. I just said, to survive. He saw I didn't want to talk, so he dropped it. He focused on tuning the drone. Only the engine roared in the van. We drove across the wasteland for 2 hours. We stopped in an open area. Beige's voice came over the radio. Well, can't go closer. Corruptors have sharp hearing. The engine will draw them. You're on your own now. He tossed a backpack from the truck. It had maps and special gear. 6 Ours. Win or lose, I'm leaving. I took the pack. Beige called me back. You're in charge. Who follows your orders? Keep Xiaoxi safe. This drone is key. I looked at silent Eho and serious Xiaohao. I nodded. Beige that said no more. He drove off, vanishing in dust. On the empty field, only we three remained. Xiaoyi looked at me. He grinned. Commander? Now what? I opened the pack. Inside, a mall map, free night vision goggles, and signal jammers. I studied the map. Weigh pros and cons of 3 entrances. Front gate, heavily guarded. Staff entrance, ambush risk. I was about to suggest the underground garage, but Hey shook his head. Number. That's their lair. Last time we went in that way. He glanced at his wounded right arm. He didn't finish. His words killed the garage idea. As I pondered other plans, Xiaoxi suggested the ventilation shaft. Firefly can fly in first. To scout the ducts in enemy layout, we entered through the roof vent straight into the top floor manager's office, avoiding most corruptors on the ground. It's clearly a great idea. I nod in agreement at once. Xiaoxi expertly works the controller. The drone hummed softly as it takes off, rising slowly. Like a swift dragonfly. Heading for the mall, the controller screen lights up, showing a clear feed. I can see clearly many corruptors roaming around the mall. They still have human shapes, but their skin is gray-green, covered in fungal spots, stiff yet very fast, like soulless puppets on strings, sending chills down your spine. Firefly nimbly avoids the corruptor's sight and quickly reaches the mall's roof. Firefly flies to the top. The screen shows several large vents on the roof. Xiaoxi shouts excitedly. And it, scanning the internal duct structure. A moment later, his face darkens. One duct leads straight to the 5th floor, but something's in it. He zooms in on the screen. We see clearly. Inside the narrow vent, dense, web-like fungal threads. At the center, a huge pulsing tumor. Whose face turns green? He names it Mo, the source breeding all corruptors. Once we enter the duct, it will alert him instantly. This is tougher than we thought. To get to the top floor, we must deal with Mo first. I say firmly, either lure it away or kill it outright. Who gives a bitter smile. Killing it is impossible. Its shell is hotter than steel. Regular bullets can't even scratch it. Whose words silence the same. But I looked at the explosives in my bag. I asked Xiaoqi, how much can your drone carry? Xiaoqi checked the specs. 2 kilos max. Enough, I thought. I quickly tied C4 blocks together, made a simple bomb. I told Xiaoqi to drop it on the monster's weakest spot. Xiaoqi asked, where's the weak spot? Hu spoke up. I've seen the monster. Every 5 minutes, it opens its top air sac to breathe. That's its only weakness. I looked at Xiaoqi. Sweat beaded on his forehead, but his eyes were firm. Got it. Leave it to me. A solid plan formed among us. All or nothing? We crept to the mall side. The wall was slick with moss. The fire escape was rusted and broken. To reach the roof, we had to use vines and rebar. The climb was brutal. Far harder than expected. My stomach wound throbbed. Each step up took everything I had. Who had one bad arm. Boyd, his strength and survival skills were top-notch. He always found solid footing. He led the way. Xiaoqi was the weakest. He slipped several times. I caught him just in time. He gritted his teeth, never complained, not a single tear. His small body held immense strength. We worked together, inching upward. Below us, hundreds of corrupted. One slip, and we'd be torn apart. Above, unknown dangers. But we can't turn back. We have to tough it out. Sweat soaked our clothes. Blisters formed on our hands. Mines scratched our skin. But we didn't care. Only one goal in mind. Reach the roof, kill Duwu, complete the mission. After a while, we finally made it to the mall's rooftop. All 3 of us were out of breath, leaning on the wall, gasping, chest heaving. The rooftop was safe. Just a few scattered fungi. No sign of the corrupted. We hid behind a giant AC unit, resting, regaining strength. Xiaoxi took a deep breath, calming his breathing. He started prepping his drone. I carefully attached the bomb to the trigger hook, double-checked the detonator, made sure it was perfect. I said to Xiaoxi, seriously, you only get 1 shot. You have to hit the target. Xiaoxi nodded. His eyes locked on the controller screen, not daring to flag off. Firefly took off again, silently flew to the nearby vent, slipped inside. On the controller screen, the view moved through the dark, narrow duct. Thick mycelium all around, glowing, faintly green, creepy and disgusting. My heart was in my throat, staring at the screen. Fireflies soon reached the fungus mother's area. The image on screen shocked me. It was a huge space where ducts converged. A tumor over 5 meters wide filled the space. That was the fungus mother. Its surface was covered in vein-like lines. With each pulse, it spewed green spores. Those spores were the source of the corrupted. All 3 of us held our breath, not daring to make a sound. sound. I had who timed the fungus mother's breathing. Who pulled out his pocket watch.
Staring hard, last breath. A minute ago.
Came to explain 90. Each second feels like an eternity. Xiaoxi's hand hovers over the controller.
Frozen, sweat drips down his face, falls on the screen, leaving a smudge. Whose voice trembles.
Keeps counting down. 30秒，度门0.3秒54 10. When he hit 3, the mother's top, the huge sack, slowly opened, revealing a bottomless,
Slimy hole. I growled. Now.
As I spoke, Xiaoxi slammed the joystick. The drone, Firefly, like a bolt of lightning, shot toward the mother's sack opening. Almost at the same time,
Mama there sensed a danger.
countless tendrils shot at Firefly from all sides.
Trying to intercept it, the screen went chaotic.
I yelled nervously.
Go! Xiaoxi's fingers were a blur.
Weaving Firefly through the dense net of tendrils with extreme moves.
The drone like a nimble bird.
Dodged wave after wave of tendril attacks.
The screen shook violently. My heart was in my throat.
Just as Firefly neared the openings, another mass of tendrils struck. Firefly barely dodged, finally broke through the tendril blockade.
Reached right above the opening. I yelled, drop the bomb.
Jessie instantly pressed the red release button.
The bomb detached.
Fell precisely into the mother's sack.
The bomb was in the mother's sack. I shouted, pull up, get out. But it was too late.
The mother's sack snapped shut. Countless tendrils surged from all sides, kindly entangling the tiny Firefly.
The screen went to static.
Xiaoqi stared at the screen. His eyes instantly reddened, whispering Firefly's name with deep sorrow.
I patted his shoulder.
Firefly did its job.
We made it. Just then, a dull boom came from the pipe, shaking the whole roof. A blast of green goo and burnt smell burst from the vent, blinding us.
Screams of the corrupted and the Queen Mother echoed. Slowly, the noise faded, then a silence.
We knew the Queen Mother was dead. But that meant
We alerted the whole mouse corrupted. No time to grieve. I grabbed Xiaoxiu.
we must move now. We put on night vision.
Prayed open a vent grate with two and jumped in one by one.
The pipe was a mess.
Littered with Queen Mother remains and green slime. Slippery underfoot.
Now's eating. We trudged on,
Following Xiaoxi's mapped route, we soon found the exit to floor 5.
stepping out.
We were in a storage room.
Full of abandoned goods, covered in dust. I checked the map.
Told Hu and Xiaoxi. The manager's office is at the hall's end.
We carefully opened the storage door, peeked out,
The 5th floor hall was empty, eerily quiet.
but we could hear from below.
Frantic roars and footsteps.
Clearly, the corrupted horde was rushing up.
Time was running out.
I yelled, go, and we dashed to the hall's end. We sprinted to the manager's office door. It was locked. Ahu didn't hesitate,
Lifted his uninjured leg and kicked the lock hard.
a loud bang, the lock broke. We rushed in, locked the door, blocked it with a heavy cabinet to keep the corrupted out.
The office was a mess. Papers and junk everywhere. Furniture was toppled, clearly abandoned for long. At the far end of the office,
We finally saw the safe,
it stood there silently.
as if waiting for us.
Xiaoqi yelled excitedly.
Found it.
But Hao Hu and I frowned.
Too easy.
Suspiciously easy. From floor 5 to this office,
We met no corrupted. That's just not normal. Just then,
the office door started slamming hard. The door groaned under the strain.
the corrupted had caught up.
Ahu yelled anxiously.
Forget it, open the safe. I rushed to the safe. It was an old combination lock. No code, no opening.
I turned to Ahu and Xiaoxi. Did Bagisi give you the code?
Both shook their heads. The message said nothing about it. Ahu's face fell.
He cursed. Damn it. I punched the safe in frustration. After all this trouble,
Stopped to buy a simple code. We die here. The banging grew louder.
cracks appeared in the door.
It could break any second. Death was closing in. Just as I lost hope,
Xiaoxi suddenly shouted.
wait! He pulled out a small device. He quickly connected it to the lock. My dad's universal decoder. My work. Ahu and I saw hope. Staring at the decoder screen.
Numbers flashed by rapidly.
Each jump tugged at our hearts.
The banging on the door grew louder. Corrupted roars were right in our ears.
The door's cracks widened. It was about to break.
Ahu and I braced the door.
We pushed hard, buying Xiaoxi time.
Xiaoqi's fingers flew on the decoder. Sweat beaded on his forehead.
He bit his lip hard.
Not daring to get distracted on the decoder screen. Numbers still flickered fast.
My heart was in my throat, feeling the door's huge impact.
I knew we couldn't hold out long.
Just then,
A crisp beep sounded.
the decoder stopped. 3 green numbers appeared.
Xiaoxi yelled.
Found it. I rushed to the safe.
Spun the dial fast.
Input A soft click, the safe door opened. We all breathed a sigh of relief. Our anxiety finally eased. But seeing what was inside, our smiles froze instantly. Our blood ran cold. In the safe, there was no GC bank, just a black, flashing red bomb. The countdown on screen clearly showed it in 90 seconds. This place would be in flames. Only one word in my head. I finally understood. Baggy had tricked us. I say, punch the wall. Plaster rained down. His face was full of rage and regret. Xiaxi's face went pale. He muttered, asking why Baji did this. I quickly calmed down. My mind raced. This isn't a mission, but a trap. Bij's goal was never the gene seed vault. He just wanted to blow us three and all the corrupted in the mon sky high. Xiaoji still couldn't understand. I kept explaining, saying we were all unstable elements in Shugu town, and he knew too much and was crippled. Useless now. Xiao's skills, tin, and I, the new guy, was unknown. He didn't trust us, so he used false hope to lure us here and to finish us off for good. AA's face showed pain and regret. He said he should have known. Age never does a losing deal. He's new to schemes against his own. Just then, the office door was smashed open. Several corrupted roared in, clawing at us. Ward raised his shotgun and blasted the front two to pieces. He yelled, eyes red, go! Hold them off. I saw the bomb's timer racing. Less than a minute left. Go where? Xiaoxi suddenly pointed at the office window. Jump from here. Thick carpet below on the 5th floor. Jumping might give us a chance. It's our only option. I didn't hesitate. I dragged CSE to the window, smashed the glass with my gun butt, and yelled back. Ha! Quick, Aha took down another corrupted, but its claws slashed deep wounds across his back. Blood soaked his clothes instantly. Seeing his injured back, my heart sank. I rushed back, grabbed his arm, and dragged him to the window. I shouted, jump! First, I pushed Xiao Qi out, then jumped with He. Jumped from the 5th floor window, falling fast through the air. Wind roaring in my ears. My stomach wound tore open again. In agony, I shut my eyes, waiting for the impact. Just as we hit the blanket, from the mall behind us came a massive explosion. A huge fireball burst from the 5th floor, engulfing the whole building. A wave of heat hit us. The blast threw us far away. We hit the ground again. My insides felt all twisted. Ears ringing. Couldn't hear a thing. Everything went dark. Almost passed out. I struggled to lift my head. The mall was a sea of flames. Those crazed corrupted, all buried in the fire. We survived. I sat up. My whole body felt broken. Excruciating pain. Who coughed blood? His face was deathly pale. His injuries were too severe. Blood is still pouring from his back, staining the blanket beneath him. I tore off my uniform to bandage him, but the wound was too deep. The blood wouldn't stop. Bandaging was useless. Who grabbed my hand, shook his head, voice weak. It's no use. My time is up. His breathing grew rapid. His eyes went distant. He looked at me. Lingzhou, promise me, go back to Shugu town. Kill Bij for me. Avenge our brothers. Then his hand fell limp. His eyes closed forever. I stared at a host body. This quiet, one-armed man, in his final moment, only thought of revenge. I faced his body and said word by word, I promise. Xiaoxi wept silently, his sobs heavy and sad. No time to grieve. The blast will draw more mutants. We must leave now. I slung a Hu's shotgun, helped the trembling Xiaoxi, and trudged toward Shugu town. No vehicle left, so we walked. Debris everywhere. Smoke and burnt smell filled the air. We moved carefully, dodging several mutant packs drawn by the noise. Moss hounds and unknown spore monsters. Each encounter took all our strength to escape. My belly wound and a Hu's shotgun weighed us down. Each step shot pain through me. Sweat soaked my clothes. Xiaoxi was weak, but never fell behind. He even helped me sometimes. His small frame gave me strength. Dusk fell. Green glow covered the land again. We hid in an abandoned building. Rested a few hours, regained strength, and at dawn pushed on. At sunrise, we saw Shugu town's online. Seeing it, Xiaoqi looked scared. How do we get in? Big thinks we're dead. Going back is walking into a trap. I stared at the town. My eyes cold as steel. Just walk in. Big thinks we're dead. He won't expect us back alive. That's our only chance. We cleaned up, wiped off dust and blood, trying to look less ragged. I hid HAU's shotgun in my coat, checked the dagger at my waist, and got ready to fight her. Xiaoxi and I, one in front, walked toward Shugu town's gate. The guards at the gate saw us, froze, shock in their eyes. Didn't you go with 8? How are you alive? I stayed calm. Mission done. 8 sent us back. The guard eyed us suspiciously, and wouldn't let us pass. I held back my anger and stared coldly at him. Finally, he waved his hand, let them in. Entering Shugu town, I felt the tense atmosphere. Survivors on the street saw us and gave us strange looks like we were dead, whispering, pointing. Clearly, they knew we were on a suicide mission and thought we died at Oasis Moor. I ignored the stares and headed straight to 8's container bar. Each step was firm. My killing intent grew. I will avenge it, eat shoot today. Pushing open the bar door, the noise inside stopped instantly. All eyes were on us. Tioba stopped what he was doing. Gamblers put down their chips. The bar was dead silent. 8 sat in his booth with that heavily made-up woman holding a drink. When he saw me, his smile froze, a flash of surprise in his eyes, then replaced by killing intent. That shift in emotion, I caught it clearly. 8 forced calm, put down his glass, asked why we were back. His voice hid a hint of panic. I walked toward him step by step. With each step, the bar grew heavier. Mission done. Of course we're back. But you didn't tell us. The safe held something big. Page's face went pale. His thugs nearby reached for their weapons, glaring at me. They growled. What do you mean? I walked to his booth, stopped, and grinned. My eyes cold and deadly. Just asking. How many bullets is your head worth? Before he could react, I pulled out AHU's shotgun. The dark barrel pressed against his forehead. The whole bar fell dead silent. Everyone held their breath. No one spoke or moved. Beiji's face twitched. He was a boss in Shugu town, so he forced calm. Put it down, Lingzhou. Let's talk. You think one man, one gun can't take me down? He barely finished when a dozen thugs stood up, all guns aimed at me. The dark muzzles trapped me. If I fired, I'd be riddled with bullets. I sneered, pressing the barrel harder. Try me, your man faster. Or my finger. I tensed my trigger finger. Ready to shoot. The tension peaked. Ready to snap. The air froze. Xiaxi whispered behind me, Lingzhou, don't be rash. I ignored her. With a ruthless guy like Bedge, once that back is a cliff today, either he dies or I do. Bedge stared hard. His eyes were full of venom and struggle. He knew I'd risk my life. Pushed too far, I'd take him down with me. Time ticked by. The bar was dead silent, just breathing. Finally, Bedge deflated like a balloon. He slumped on the couch. Despair was on his face. He forced out a few words. Fine, I agree. He said the supplies are in the warehouse. As for Shugu town, it's yours now. I nodded, satisfied. Good. Tell your men to drop their guns. Beige waved his hand. His thug, though reluctant, slowly put down their weapons. Their eyes burned with anger and resentment. I held Bide hostage. I made him take me to the warehouse. He didn't dare resist, just stood up. Under my gun. He headed to the warehouse behind Shugu town. Xiaxi followed us. He watched the thugs warily to stop them from attacking. Under my control, Badge led me to the warehouse. The door opened. I was shocked by what I saw. It was packed with supplies. Canned food, medicine, weapons, clean water, everything. All of this he'd hoarded by exploiting the townsfolk. The survivors were starving, but he hoarded all this. Despicable. As agreed, I made him double the reward. 200 bullets, 60 cans, and moss inhibitor. Beige didn't dare resist. He had the warehouse manager handed over. I gave the supplies to Xiaoxi, told him to store them. Bad stammered. Can you let me go now? I smiled, but my eyes were cold. I slowly lowered the gun, aimed at his knee. A gunshot, a scream. He fell, clutching his leg. Blood gushed from his knee, soaking the ground. He howled in pain. My leg. You said he'd let me go. I walked up to him, looking down. I said I'd let you go, but not without a lesson. That's for who? For everyone you cheated. I dropped the empty shotgun, pulled out my knife. The cold blade reflected his fear. He scrambled back. What are you doing? I said you forgot. I want your head for who? I stepped closer, ready to strike then. The warehouse door burst open. That heavily made-up woman led a crowd of armed townsfolk. She screamed, "Stop!" I frowned. Stopped, looking at Xingming. I knew they weren't pleading for him. They feared the unknown. An elder stepped forward. Bage was bad to us, but he kept order. Kill him, chaos follows. What about us? Others agreed. They shouted to let him go. I stared coldly at them, pointed at Bag. Your leader used his men as cannon fodder. Sent them to die. A leader like that, you still defend him? The crowd stirred. They'd heard he tricked us into the Oasis Mall. They were angry, but feared the collapse. So they compromised. I looked at them.
Shouted, from 10T Houses, I am the new leader of Shugu Town.
I'll do better than Beige. New rules. Work hard. Get food and respect. No more bandits. We'll build a real home. Everyone was stunned. A home. In this green apocalypse, it sounded so absurd. Some looked skeptical, others hopeful. Someone challenged me. Why should they follow me? I looked around. Firmly, I killed the queen, blew up the corruptor's nest, survived Badge's trap, and crushed him. Is that enough? The townsfolk fell silent. They'd seen my strength. Unlike ruthless Beige, I'm a fighter, a capable newcomer. Maybe I could bring hope. Just then, Xiaxu stepped out. I support him. Ling Zhou can lead us. With Yao Qi's lead, a frail man raised his hand. Beige sold my sister for canned food. He's unfit to lead. I support Ling Zhou one by one. More townsfolk sided with me, chanting my name. He knew it was over. I walked up to him, tapped his face with my knife. Your time is over. I didn't kill him. Killing him would make me like him. I had his other leg broken, locked him in the warehouse to rot in pain and regret. As for the woman who stirred up the town for Beige, I kicked her out of Shugu Town, left her to fend for herself. That's it. Me, Ling Zhu, a pawn betrayed by Moken and Suqing, a newcomer just arrived. On my third day in Shugu Town, became its new master. Even I find this outcome strange. The next 3 days, I started restoring order in Shugu Town, abolished all unequal treaties from the Eight Nations era, set up a contribution point system based on work. Everyone can earn points by patrolling, collecting supplies, or repairing equipment, and use points for food, water, and shelter. At first, many were uncomfortable, but they silently complied. To survive, a new order was necessary. Xiaoxi became my right-hand man. Using his technical skills, he scoured the town's abandoned gear, fixed the generator, bringing power back to Shugu Town. He also fixed a simple water purifier, giving the townsfolk clean water. No more drinking spore-laden water, reducing infection risks. We also cleared a small test plot at the steel mill's empty lot, trying to grow some pollution-resistant crops. Not sure if it'll work, but it gave the townsfolk hope. Under my lead, the townsfolk started cleaning up trash, repairing walls, and reinforcing defenses. The once chaotic Shugu Town slowly came to life. The townsfolk's faces showed smiles long unseen, no longer numb and hopeless. I'd almost forgotten Mo Chen and Su Qing, forgotten a place called the Barrier. Thought maybe staying here, building up Shugu Town, was better than heading to that uncertain barrier. Just when I thought life would stay calm, an uninvited guest completely disrupted my plans. It also tied my fate with Mo Chen and Su Qing again. That afternoon, a military SUV appeared at Shugu Town's gate. It had the Bastion logo. It looked very imposing. 3 people got out. They wore black combat suits, well equipped, stern face, clearly trained soldiers. The leader was a woman. She had short, neat hair. Her eyes were sharp as knives. She had a strong presence. She came up to me, showed a metal ID badge. We're from Bastion, 7th Action Team. I'm Jingyue, tracking dangerous test subjects. Intel says their last known location is nearby. Bastion. My heart jumped. Bastion was my original goal, my former obsession. I never thought I'd cross paths with them like this. I asked what test subjects. Qingyue coldly said, Eden's madman. He said they stole Bastion's key research, Gaia Star. If it goes out of control, it'll cause a disaster worse than Green Tide. Eden, Wo Chen, Su Qing. Those names, like needles, pierced my nerves again. My heart tightened. I never thought they'd be linked to Bastion and steal something so important. I pressed the Chenyu. What is Gaia Star? Yingyue looked at me, as if judging if I was trustworthy. After a pause, he spoke. Gaia Star is the Green Tide virus's host. Bastion research wanted to use it to cure spore infection, to find a cure for Green Tide. But now, Mo Chen has her. He wants to use her to speed up the planet's green evolution. The male teammate behind Qingyue added he wants to turn all humans into monsters like the corrupted. I finally understood. Mo Chen's Eden isn't humanity's future at all. It's a cancer accelerating the world's end. And the Su Qing, was she kept in the dark? Or did she know from the start? I willingly follow him. My mind was a mess. Mixed feelings. I suppressed my turmoil and asked Qingyu what they planned. Qingyu said to reclaim Gaia's heart or destroy it outright. We can't let Mo Shen succeed, but they're short on people and unfamiliar with this area. They need my intel and manpower. I asked calmly, what's in it for me? Qingyu made an offer I couldn't refuse. After this, the barrier will take in all of Shugu town, make you full citizens with top-tier protection, clean air and water, and safe housing. Entering the barrier was my ultimate goal, but now I hesitated. I looked back at Shugu town. Villagers were working in the fields, repairing walls. Their smiles genuine and warm. This was our home, built with our own hands. I couldn't bear to leave it. Xiaoxi came to my side and gently woke me up. If Mo Chen's plan succeeds, the whole world will be swallowed by the green tide. No matter how safe Shugu town is, it won't escape. We can't just think of ourselves. Jiao's words were like cold water. That's snapping me out of my hesitation. This was never a choice. It was a must. Our Shugu town, for all surviving humans, I must act. I look at Qingyu, not to agree, but set one condition. I lead this mission. Barry's team follows my orders. Qingyu's men look annoyed, but he stops them. He stares at me, then smiles. Interesting. First time someone dares to bargain with Barrier. Deal. Let's go. Qingyu Tao and Barrier form an alliance against a common foe. My fate is again tied to Mo Chen and Su Qing. We quickly draft a plan in Shugu's command center. Qingyu shows the matrix sensor. It tracks Gaia's energy, but range is short and easily jammed. Mo Chen's Eden is a mobile base. It recharges at ley lines or spore hotspots. For 2 days, we sweep from Shugu town. Qingyu's 2 men, Li Mo, the quiet demolitions expert, and Jiang Yang, the cocky sniper, resent me as their temporary leader. I insist on detours to avoid mutant nests. I also waste time saving 2 scavengers. Zhang Yang complains. Linju, no time for this. I calmly reply, every life matters. Living is all that counts. My persistence pays off. Grateful, the scavengers mention a forest appearing in Weeping Canyon and green robe figures performing a ritual. All clues match. That's Eden's hideout. I rally 20 elite fighters from Shugu. We load all weapons. 3 armored vehicles head to Weeping Canyon. The convoy bumps across the wasteland. Closer to the canyon, lands grow thicker. Even strange, aggressive flora appears. I warn over the radio. Careful, we're in Eden's perimeter. As the words faded, the lead car was flipped by giant vines from underground. Shouts erupted instantly. Everyone scrambled out and took cover. Countless vines lashed at vehicles and people like pythons. A swarm of green-robed Eden believers poured from the forests. Their eyes glowed with fanatical green lights. Wielding plant-based weapons, they charged fearlessly. I yelled, "Open fire!" A fierce gunfight erupted instantly. The believers outnumbered us and felt no pain. Non-lethal hits didn't stop them. Li Mo threw grenades, shouting, "We'll be worn down." I ordered Jiang Yang to suppress their fire, then led Qingyu and the best fighters towards the vines, shouting, "Use fire!" Lit Molotovs and hurled them at the vine roots. Flames spread. Vines writhed and shrieked in the fire. The pressure eased slightly, just as we barely held the line. An unexpected figure appeared at the forest's edge. Su Qing, in a pure white priest's robe, expressionless. His arrival drove the believers wild. They chanted, "Saintess," and charged harder. My heart clenched. She was still beautiful, but her eyes were cold and strange. Our gazes met. No guilt in his eyes, only dead silence. He spoke through a loudspeaker. "Ling Zhou, turn back. Join us. Embrace rebirth. This is your last chance." I scoffed in reply, and turning people into mindless monsters is your idea of rebirth. He shook his head. You wouldn't understand. We are the future. With that, he raised his hand. The canyon floor trembled violently. A massive emerald tree rose from the center. At its top, a huge living green crystal that was Gaia's star. Its green light dyed the canyon jade. The immense life force was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The moment Gaia's star appeared, all Eden followers knelt in worship. The mutant plant stopped attacking. Tinya's face turned grin. It's connected to the earth veins. Mo Chen wants it as a global tower to spread the green tide's will. Jing Yang looked desperate. We can't even get past the followers. How do we reach the giant tree? All eyes were on me. I quickly set a diversion plan. I'll lead a frontal assault to draw fire. Qingyu and Jiang Yang provide cover. Li Mo sneaks around the cliff to blow the roots. Qingyu objected. A frontal assault is suicide. My eyes were firm. It's the only way. Sometimes victory needs sacrifice. Then Xiaoqi's voice came through the comms. I turned and saw him on high ground, setting a jammer. I'll disrupt their psychic network. Throw the followers into chaos. I shouted to all the soldiers behind us. Our homes and families lose, and we lose everything for Shugu town. for human dignity. Charge! The war cries shook the sky. We struck the enemy like a blade. Just as we were about to be overwhelmed, the followers suddenly went wild, biting each other. Xiaoxi interference worked. We seized the chance and broke through. Behind the giant tree, Mo Chen slowly emerged. He raised a hand and flung me back with force. I spat blood. Realizing he was already one with the green tide, Mo Chen walked toward me slowly. Grass grew wildly under his feet. His tone was contemptuous. This is the power of evolution. How pathetic your struggle is. I struggled to ask him, why destroy humanity? He smiled. With pity, humans are selfish and greedy. They'll destroy themselves. The green tide is Gaia's salvation. Joining Gaia's consciousness is eternal harmony. I turned to Su Qing and screamed with all my might. Is this the future you want? Su Qing trembled. Proud, conflicted. I just don't want more deaths. My brother died fleeing from hunger and disease. If the green tide had come sooner, he might still be here. I countered. So you'll kill everyone more gently? He turned pale, but Mo Chen cut us off. Eyes cold. For old time's sake, I've given you enough time. Now, rest in peace. At the critical moment, Zheng Yang's sniper round hit his arm. Qin Yue flanked with the soldiers. Mo Qian had over Gaia's heart. Mo Qian laughed in rage. He stomped, and giant trees surged. Vines shot like arrows. Several soldiers were pierced. Drained dry. I yelled into the comms. Li Mo. He replied anxiously, setting the explosives. Hold on, 30 more seconds. Ignoring the pain, I charged Mo Chen. Qin Yue fought beside me. His body was tough as plant fiber. Our attacks only left shallow marks at the crucial moment. I stabbed my dagger at Mo Chen's eye. He dodged instinctively. Qin Yue seized the opening and stuck a signal jammer on his leg. Mo Chen froze. The vines around him stopped. He stared at Qin Yue in shock. What did you do? Qin Yue replied coldly. Gaia Star needs a terminal to receive commands, and you are that terminal. This will temporarily sever your link. Without Gaia's hard support, Mo Chen's advantage vanished. Qin Yu and I attacked fiercely. Real wounds appeared on him. His arrogance turned to fear. Impossible. Just as we were about to succeed, Su Qin suddenly spread her arms in front of him. My dagger aimed at Mo Chen's heart, stopped dead before his chest, less than a centimeter away. I yelled, eyes red, tears streaming down her face. She begged. Please spare him. He just wants to save the world his way. Let's go, never come back. I looked at him, heartbroken. Even now, he still protects others. I lost after all, completely defeated. Time saw. Limon's voice blasted through the comms. Then a massive explosion from the tree roots. The ground shook violently. Like a magnitude 10 quake, the colossal tree was blown clean off at the base, tilting slowly to one side. The Gaia Star dimmed rapidly. Mo Chen screamed in despair. Rushed recklessly toward the falling tree, trying to catch the falling heart. His figure was soon buried by rubble and wood. The world tree's collapse triggered a chain reaction. Weeping Canyon began to break apart. The ground split open. Rocks tumbled. An apocalyptic scene suffocating us. I grabbed the stun Su Qing and fled madly with Jinye and the others as we escaped the canyon. The bun-like cloud cover thinned. Long-lost golden sunlight streamed through the gaps, shining on the survivors. All Eden followers, like unplugged robots, fell lifeless to the ground. We won. Everyone cheered and hugged, cried tears of joy. Only Su Qing and I stood silent. She stared blankly at the sinkhole, eyes vacant. Her face shattered, her world destroyed too. I looked at the silent Su Qing, finally asked the question. He meant a lot to you, right? She didn't look at me, just nodded slightly. When I was at my most hopeless, he gave me new hope. I smiled bitterly. Yes, when I was blinded by hate, Mo Chen gave her false comfort. I can't judge him. Where to now? I asked softly. He shook his head, eyes empty. I don't know. His world had collapsed. I hesitated, then said, come back to Shugu town. We need help rebuilding. You can start over. I turned away and walked to my comrades. I'd said and done all I could. The rest was up to him. Qin Yue patted my shoulder, rarely smiled. Good job, Commander. He said they'd report back. Said Shugu would be a wasteland gem. Maybe no need for the stronghold. I nodded. Watched their jeep drive off. Mixed feelings. We had our own home now. No one's protection needed. We are our own stronghold. We returned to Shugu town with victory and loot. The whole town erupted. People danced and celebrated and mourned the fallen. I built a monument for them. Their names will live forever. Siqing came back too, no longer in priest robes. Wore work clothes, became quiet, worked silently in the fields, planting, watering, weeding as if to wash away the past. I didn't bother her. Some wounds only time heals. Life in Shugu returned to normal, more vibrant than before. Xiaoxi upgraded defensive, built a small arms factory. We could even make bullets now. We opened more farmland. With Su Qing's careful care, first batch of anti-pollution potatoes was harvested. When townsfolk ate clean food they grew, many cried. We sent teams to find survivors and supplies. Shugu town's fame spread across the wasteland. More displaced people came. The town grew daily. A year later, Shugu town had nearly 5,000 people. We wowed a steel mill. Inside, farms, factories, schools, even a small hospital. The green spore clouds still hung overhead. Outside, it was still dangerous. But here, hope returned to people's faces. That day, I stood on the tallest watchtower, overlooking the sliding scene. I felt an unprecedented satisfaction. A familiar voice came from behind. I turned to see Xiaoxi with 2 cups of weak tea. She was no longer the frail little girl. Now, she's Shugu Town's top tech manager, confident and cheerful, a role model for kids. What's on your mind? He asked with a smile. I took the cup. JC feels like a dream. Elena narrating. It's not a dream. It's our reality. The sunset cast its glow, bathing Shugu Town in warm gold. Xiaxi suddenly said, he left this morning. He left a letter for you. I took the envelope from Xiaoxi. Inside, just a short line. Lingzhou, thank you. And, sorry, I'm seeking my own redemption. No signature, but I knew it was him. Holding the paper, I felt relief and a hint of sadness. Maybe for all of us, this is the best ending. Xiaoxi nudged me. Don't dwell on it. Look, our future is just beginning. I followed his gaze. Kids were playing in the square. Adults laughed by the campfire. A peaceful scene. I watch and smile. Once, green sky, green land meant all my despair and pain. But now, looking up at this green sky and down at this vibrant green land, my heart is full of hope. The one once betrayed and cuckolded was reborn in the apocalypse. My future, Shugu Town's future, humanity's future, has just begun.